Okay, it's Brett Taylor here, and I have Michael Gligic with me today. Michael is the 2012 ATB Financial Classic winner on the Canadian Tour. He is from Burlington, Ontario, and he was also the Fall Q School winner in late 2011. Thanks for joining me, Michael.
Yeah, no problem.
So as we usually start with these interviews, just want to talk to you a little bit about goals and your perspective on goals and what you do with goals.
I'm obviously a goal setter. I know some people might be a lot more intense with goals. They write them down and kind of, figure out ways how they're going to achieve them and whatnot. But I kind of had mine all stored upstairs in the head. And obviously one of them was to win out on the Canadian Tour. But that being said, I would not have been disappointed not winning. You can see some great players this year who don't have a win. I know it's only through 3 events, but Matt Marshall's played awesome, and his first 3 events, Corey Renfrew was in a playoff there, and if he were to not have won against Matt Hill last week, I mean, he would have played 2 unbelievable weeks of golf and not have come out with a victory. So the competition is very strong out here, and with that being said, my goal, I guess, was more to come out and play well. If I was able to escape with a win, that would be awesome. And, fortunately, I was able to do that. A couple other goals might include playing in the Canadian Open and, just playing well at PGA Tour School this fall.
That's great. So, Michael, what do you do with respect to improvement and learning, and how do you go about that?
I've been starting to work with a guy at the Brampton Golf and Country Club, Paul Doolin, and I think he's pretty well connected there with Core, with Sean Foley, Craig Davies. They're down in Orlando, and he's helped me out a lot. And we kind of start from the basics, and a lot of it's just basic breathing and whatnot. I get pretty tense out there, and hold my breath and do crazy things that I never even knew were imaginable. But he's helped me out quite a bit, and we have a good relationship, and I hope to further that. And he's going to do great things in his career. I'd be surprised to see him working with some big name guys on the PGA Tour in the near future. He really is knowledgeable and knows his stuff, and I'm happy to have him part of my team.
Great. So breathing is obviously a key point that you work on with Paul. Is there anything else in particular that stands out in your mind that he's helped you out with?
Not a whole lot. Maybe a bit on course management. I've always been a really aggressive player. If there's a par 5 where most people are laying up and I get one out there, and if there's a 5% chance I'm going to get there, then most of the time I'm going for it. That's how I kind of used to play, and kind of learned to back off just a little bit, and I've definitely seen an improvement in my scores from that. So.
Okay, great. So I guess on the topic of course management, so how do you think about that now? How do you play those percentages or plan your round?
I mean, it's just a numbers game. I guess I'm still pretty young, but back then I was kind of young and stupid, and always wanting to shoot the lowest round possible. And I'd be out there in a par 5 all over water. It could be however long it would carry, and if there's a couple percent chance I was going to get there, I would give it a rip, and with all the intention of making 3 in my mind. And most of the time back then I leave with 6 or 7. So I've kind of learned the numbers game a bit, and started to tone back, I guess, a bit on the aggressive play. And I used to always hit a lot of drivers off the tee. It used to be my thing, just kind of step up, hit it, and find it, and hit it again. And I've really learned to kind of manage my clubs off the tee, and especially obviously I didn't play well in Fort McMurray there. I got sick for a few days, but the one practice round I played, I really felt like I prepared well for it. And unfortunately, I got pretty sick there during the event and the day before and the day after. But I out there, even in the tournament, I think I hit 2 drivers the first day and 3 drivers the second day, which is pretty unlike me. But I felt like I had a really good game plan going in there, but just wasn't able to play too well.
Yeah, okay. So are the majority of your course management decisions, I mean, you mentioned the practice round, and do you make a lot of your decisions before you get on the course and how you're going to play, or is a lot of the decision making done during your round on the course?
For the most part, I pretty much know how I'm going to play all the holes. Kind of figured that out during the practice rounds. Obviously, there's wind and there's other factors and pin placements and whatnot, so a lot of things do change. Going into the Fort McMurray event, that's just a good example because the course was pretty tight there, and not too many people were hitting driver every single hole. But I was planning on hitting 2 to 3 drivers around, and I kind of picked my holes where I would, and I actually snuck in a driver on a hole that I didn't really think I would. And actually on that hole, I ended up making 6, the hole that I didn't plan on hitting driver, and I hit driver. So there's my old course management sneaking back at me.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Most of the decisions are made, for me at least, in the practice rounds. Obviously, there's a lot of factors that come into golf, and things do change, but I pretty much have a general idea of at least 2 ways of how to play the hole. Kind of one, if you get it, downwind. The other, if you kind of get it into the wind.
Okay.
That's kind of how I see the holes, and kind of figure out how to play it both ways.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it, really. It gives you a couple of scenarios that are quite different to consider. Absolutely. Okay.
Yeah, there's a couple holes this week that actually really stand out, and I know 8 at Dakota Dunes this week is a par 4, and there's a big dog leg to the right. You can cut it right over the corner. There's no trees or anything, but it's all bunkers, and I think it's like a 290 carry over the bunkers. So we played it yesterday, and we kind of had it a bit downwind, and obviously we were able to fly it over the bunkers into the fairway. But if you get it into the wind, then that kind of doesn't become possible anymore, and then you got to kind of hit it out to the left, which is just probably a 3-wood, and then onto the green. So that was a good example yesterday of 2 different ways to play the same hole, just kind of based on wind.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Yeah, that'll be a very different hole with those 2 scenarios. When it comes to pre-shot routine, what can you tell me about your pre-shot routine from a mental perspective, and how valuable is it, and what's your process there?
I think pre-shot routine is actually very valuable. That's something that I worked on with Paul quite a bit as well. A lot of visualization and whatnot. I pretty much, how I see it, I mean, everybody is different and everybody does it different. How I kind of see my pre-shot routine is kind of 2 boxes. I'll stand by the bag and kind of figure out the wind, pick out the club, whatnot, pick out the shot, and then once I kind of step behind the ball, that's when I take my practice swings, and I kind of see how I visualize it is I kind of see the ball going through the air almost like the shot tracker there when you're watching the PGA Tour events, how they have the line going through the air there.
Yeah.
And I kind of visualize, where the ball is going to land on the green, and then, if it's coming in with the draw, it's probably going to spin left, and I kind of see it spinning left, and kind of where it ends up, and if I'm going to hit a cut, it's kind of the same thing. So that's kind of how I do it. I just see the shot tracker there, and
okay. And does that use the same kind of philosophy with putting and chipping and bunkers, the whole bit?
For the most part, chipping, I kind of pick the spot where to land it, and I kind of see the ball rolling out. Kind of the same with my putting. I pick out a spot on the green, and I don't really see, when I'm visualizing, I don't really see the first however many feet of the putt. I normally see, the last 5 feet of the putt, and I see the ball just kind of continuously rolling into the hole from whichever angle, to right to left breaker. I kind of see, the putt breaking in and going in at 5 o'clock there if the hole is a clock.
Yeah.
And I just kind of repeatedly see that, and then it kind kind of just gets ingrained into my head, and I just, your body will react if you do it well enough. So
yeah, so
that's kind of how I go about that.
So you do kind of try to make it reactionary as much as you can then towards the end of your routine in all cases, by the sound of it.
Yeah, pretty much for the most part, yeah.
Okay. You mentioned visualization in there as well. I think that's, something everybody uses. Can you elaborate a little bit on where you use visualization and how?
Pretty much on every shot. From the tee, pretty much pick out the shot shape, and like I said, I just see that shot tracker, and I kind of see that in my practice swings, and I just step up and pull the trigger. And
okay. Do you use visualization at all off of the golf course, like to visualize your goals, sort of thing, or?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm actually pretty good at in my practice. And Paul Dillon said it's pretty tough to do, but I seem pretty good at it. And I actually have a good story from Edmonton there. But I'm good at practicing and kind of visualizing that I'm on a golf course. So I can be on a range, and I can almost convince myself that I'm, on the 18th hole at the Canadian Open, and I'm tying the lead come down the stretch, and this shot, and I'll actually be out on the range, and I'll almost feel nerves.
Okay.
And it takes me a few minutes to kind of pop out of that, because I'll do that for a few minutes, and I do that on the putting green too. I'll kind of envision that this putt is to win whatever event.
Sure.
And funny thing was, I played with my roommate there, Ryan Corbin, in our practice round. I only got one practice round in at Windermere in Edmonton there, and after 18, he said he wanted to go hit a few balls for 5 or 10 minutes before we left, and I said, all right, I'm just going to chip and putt around this green, and I actually was chipping and putting there on the 18th green by myself, and I sat there and was just envisioning the 18th hole, people around the green, got a putt to win, and I never really do it on the golf course. I normally do all that kind of visualizing on the practice green or on the driving range. And it's funny that sure enough, there Sunday I had a couple putts there to win on 18. So
wow, that's great.
It's pretty cool that a few days earlier I was envisioning it, and a few days later, sure enough, there it was. So.
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's a great exercise. Lots of people get caught kind of going to the range and just hitting balls and going through the motions. And in these discussions that I've been having in the last few months, it's very interesting. A lot of these most successful players are going to the range with a real purpose and imagining that they are on the golf course and hitting shots that are related to a specific hole on the course or to that specific week at least, and so that seems to resonate. So that's great.
Yeah, and even before when I warm up before a tournament round, or even any round, if I'm going out there, I always finish the range session off with the club that I'm going to hit off the first tee, and I always envision the first tee shot and try and hit the first tee shot. In Windermere there, the first hole is the par 5, and lined by bunkers, and I'd be on the driving range kind of envisioning that. The 10th hole out there is a short dog leg right, par 4, and I'd be envisioning the little fade off the tee. So that's how I end my driving range session before a round. And it is really important to get the visualization.
Yeah, no, I completely agree for sure. On a little bit of a different topic, going back to your goals a little bit, what from an expectation perspective, what's your expectation of Michael Gligic as far as, you obviously expected to win on the Canadian Tour, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'll let you say if you did or not, but, do you expect to be on the PGA Tour down the road, and what do you expect of yourself on a, weekly and a career basis?
On a weekly basis, daily basis, I just kind of expect to put forth the best effort that I can and kind of go to bed that night and regrets and know that I did the best that I could that day to get, so I can wake up tomorrow and be better. Whether it's a person, a golfer, everything. It's just, just trying to get better at life every day. And, do I expect to be on the PGA Tour? I'd love to be on the PGA Tour. I don't expect it. I'll still survive. I'll still wake up every day if I'm not on the PGA Tour. It's not life or death. I don't think it is really for anyone. But, obviously all the guys out here, their dreams are to play on the PGA Tour, and that's what I always call mine. It's kind of a dream. I do think my game's good enough, if that's kind of what you're getting at. Especially now I got a bit of confidence knowing that I can win out on the Canadian Tour, which, if you look at the guys who come out of here every year, there's handfuls of guys that are getting their PGA or Nationwide Web.com cards.
Right.
And, to be able to kind of classify myself as a winner out here, it means a lot, and it really helps the confidence. And, I don't really have doubts in my mind that if I keep doing what I'm doing, that I'll be able to, get out on the PGA Tour or Web.com Tour and, hopefully find my way onto the PGA Tour one day.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, I'm just digging at everybody has a different mindset, and just wondering what your expectations were in general for your future and how you go about it. And I know you had mentioned earlier about, things will happen if it's meant to be kind of thing. And everybody has a different perspective on that. So,
yeah, pretty much just work as hard as I can. And if it was meant to be, it was meant to be. And, I'll get out there, but,
okay.
It's not a life or death situation.
Yeah. Okay. Now, with respect to getting to those bigger goals and achievement and moving forward with your game, you had mentioned that you're working with Paul Dooland, and do you have other people on your team as far as swing coach, short game coach, fitness coach, nutrition? Do you have other people you're looking at too?
I talked to Paul Doolan a lot about nutrition too. He's very knowledgeable with that subject, and I trust him with everything. Then as far as swing goes, I worked with Sean Foley. I've been with him for probably 10 years, ever since I was a kid. And Sean Foley came right out of college, and he went right to Glen Abbey. And my roommate, actually, Ryan Corbin, and I were probably one of his first students. We both walked into Glen Abbey, probably 13 years of age, and sure enough, Sean was there, just a young guy right out of college, wanted to be a teacher, and took us under his wing. And Ryan sees him a bit more than I do, because Ryan spends a lot of time in Florida in the off season. And I still keep in touch with Sean once in a while. And since then, I've started to work with Brendan Barrett a little bit. He's a young guy, same type of thing. He has great aspirations to be a golf coach, and he works down at Core with Foley, actually. And they both kind of teach the same methods and know my swing inside and out. So I work with Brennan as well. He knows a lot about the swing, and I kind of see Sean when I can. And then I also have Gareth Raflewski. He's out of London, Ontario. He's really knowledgeable with the short game, and that was something in the past 2 years that I struggled with a little bit. And I've worked with him on that and seen a great improvement, and really look forward to a long relationship with him as well.
Okay, great. Well, it sounds like you have a good group of people to work with around there. How, on a similar line of thought, how important are your peers and the people you hang out with, and from maybe being able to help you out, but also from a positive mindset and having positive people around you? How important is that for you?
Pretty important. I kind of know who to hang out with and who to kind of avoid at some points. I'm really happy with Ryan Corbin, my roommate this year. I've known him for a long time, and he's pretty much the picture-perfect roommate I see on the Canadian Tour. He works hard. He's not really one to go out and party or any of that, and just really sticks to business, and that's kind of the way I've been approaching it this year.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that sounds good. Have you had any significant challenges in your career so far that stand out and that you've had to overcome and kind of gave you a boost in the end to move your career forward?
I guess a couple, yeah. I guess my brother has severe autism, and kind of growing up in a family with that, and a lot of time is dedicated to him, and I try and see him as much as I can and do everything I can for him too. That kind of made things a little tough, I guess, financially. My family didn't, grow up with too much money at all, and a lot of money and time went into him, which I would never change for the world. But it did, make it a little bit tougher on my golf. And my parents did get divorced, and since then, money has been probably the number one issue. And I've worked hard on trying to get some sponsorship and whatnot, and I've had some people come forward and help me, and hopefully after this win too, some people will realize that I put in a lot of time and effort, and obviously I can compete out here, and maybe that'll help future sponsorship.
Yeah, no, definitely. I don't disagree with that. Anytime you can show the level of success that you have with a win on the Canadian Tour, we should definitely draw some attention.
Also 2010 there, I had a tough year on the Canadian Tour. Didn't really play well, didn't really make cuts, and after that season I was kind of down on myself, and at the time I was still young and stupid, and my uncle is a really successful real estate broker, and my aunt's a real estate agent as well. And when my parents got divorced, I lived with them for a few months there. And I guess from all their chit chat about real estate and whatnot, I really became interested. And after the 2010 season, I went and wanted to look into getting my real estate license, and I actually went out and did 2 courses. And it's always been, for the last probably 5 years, it's kind of been my backup plan if golf didn't work out in the long run, knock on wood. Mm-hmm. And, after that season, I was just down on myself, and kind of went and decided to pursue that just in case, golf didn't work out. And I had a good 2011 season. I didn't play on the Canadian Tour. I played on the Great Lakes Tour locally, and I played one Canadian Tour event actually, and my second round in the Canadian Tour event, I shot 60 and had the lead by a few going into the weekend there. And last year was a big year for me. It gave me a lot of confidence, and although I didn't play too much on the Canadian Tour, I just played that one event. I did some other things like getting to U.S. Open sectionals. I think I missed U.S. Open by 2 shots, and just little things like that. And I gained a lot of confidence back. And this winter, I had to finish the real estate course, and I ended up saying, I don't want to do it. And I pretty much, threw the real estate license down the drain, and said, I'm a golfer. I was born to be a golfer, and let's do it. And I kind of refocused and rededicated myself, and here I am today.
Wow, that's an interesting story, and that's great. Certainly some obstacles in there that have pushed you forward. So
yeah, definitely.
You mentioned something there I'd really like to get into a little bit, and winning and confidence. And you said you had a not so great year in 2010 on the Canadian Tour, and then if I understood right, in 2011 you played the Great Lakes Tour, and I would say by the sounds of things you must have won an event or two and had quite a strong year that really built your confidence up and boosted your confidence and gave you a sense of winning. But I'd like to get your perspective on that and how that experience has helped you this year with, I find from these interviews a lot of people have, histories of winning as a junior or winning events leading up or getting closer and closer. And I just want to get your perspective on that and how your year of 2011 contributed to your win this year.
Yeah, even when I go back to my junior days, I was always one to play in any golf tournament, anyone, anywhere, I would play. And I was kind of the same way, I'm still kind of the same way as a professional. I mean, I love playing golf, and I learn a lot more on the golf course than I do on a driving range. And, I love being competitive and being out there as much as I can. So even to this day, any tournament you can get me in, I'm in. And that's kind of, helped me a lot from even going back to the junior days. I won a lot of small junior circuits, and I played pretty well in the Great Lakes Tour the last few years. And last year I had a pretty good year out there. I got off to a really good start. I think I finished second, first, third or something were my first four events, and I won a few times out there, and then I won the Mo Norman Cup, which is their tour championship at the end there, and I won the money list. And, from all that, I, had enough money to go to PGA Q school, which was kind of my goal last year. It was what I wanted to do in 2010, but because I didn't play too well on the Canadian Tour, I just didn't have the funds. And last year was kind of, I looked at it as almost a money-making year. I was going to play a lot of pro-ams, to play a lot of Great Lakes events and a lot of local stuff where I knew I could make a few bucks. And, I was fortunate at the end of the year I was able to, have enough money to go to Q school, and that's what I did. And, I played one event on the Canadian Tour last year and kind of regained my confidence for out on this tour. I went out and I shot 60 the second round and had a couple shot lead going into the weekend. So, just there I proved to myself that, I can be out here. And I just continue to work hard and whatnot, and there's no reason why I can't get back out here. And that's what I did. After that, I, kind of rededicated myself and said, this is what you want to do, so let's just do it. And went to Canadian Tour Q school and won the fall Q school, and now I'm back from here this year.
Okay, great. So I guess, it sounds like, the experience you had last year and even all the other events, when you get close to winning and you think about winning, I guess it tends to put you in that position more often. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, for sure. A lot of the Great Lakes events, I've won a few times out there. I've been in contention a lot out there. And I think that just gets you kind of familiar with the situation. And especially, I actually learned a lot when I was playing the Canadian Tour event last year. I just wasn't strong mentally. I just came off a 60, which is a career low, a course record, and had a lot of media attention, which, I just wasn't familiar with, and pretty much everyone in my contact book, and Facebook and Twitter and every social media and email and all that was sending me a message congratulating me, and, I was getting congratulatory emails and whatnot, and the tournament was half over.
Right.
And, I kind of just didn't go in with the right mindset Saturday, Sunday, so I kind of sat down with Paul Doolin and, kind of figured out what happened there. And I think that made me stronger and better. And, I talked to Paul, actually, I think it was Saturday night just before the final round of the ATB there, and I felt really good going into the final round. I was 2 shots back, and, sure enough, it helped me to win there.
Okay. Well, I have no doubt there were probably lots of things we could talk about on your Saturday, Sunday, and learnings you had and distractions and all the rest. I just would like to talk a little bit about the 60. Obviously that's going really low. Can you take us through that a little bit and just briefly? As far as from the mental side of it, when you get to 5, 6 under, and maybe 7 and 8, and then going even further, what's your mindset when you're in that position and you're going low?
That's one round of golf where I talked to Paul Doolin about, and that's pretty much the ideal goal, is to get to that state every round of golf. Because I went out there, and my regular caddy and I, we got the hotel. I shot 68 the first round. It was looking like the cut was going to be, a couple under, and I was kind of on the cut line. And I went and I checked out of my hotel, being a guy with not too much money at the time, checked out of my hotel because, I wasn't going to pay the extra $100 so I would have missed the cut. And I went out and, it felt like every hole was the first hole. It felt like every hole I was kind of even par, and I I didn't even know where I stood, and I kind of didn't even really know where I stood until the 18th fairway there. I hit it down there, and me and my caddy both looked at each other. Actually, it was right after I hit it on the green. I hit it there to about 10 feet on the green. We both looked at each other and kind of smiled, and that was about it. And went up and had about a 10 or 12 footer there for 59, and actually left it about 1 inch short, right on the front lip.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I had a putt there on 16, 17, and 18, and the putt on 16 and 17, I didn't feel nervous, didn't feel anything, and just hit what I felt were half-decent putts, and they didn't go in, and
okay.
Went on to 18, and I kind of knew at the time the putt on 18 that was for 59, and after the round I kind of looked back, and it just seemed to be a bit of a blur, and that's kind of what I take and remember from that round.
Yeah. So would you say you spent quite a bit of time in the zone that day?
Yeah, it was definitely in the zone there. Just didn't really know what I was at score wise, which has been something I struggle with. Most of the time, I'll be at 4 under, and I'll be thinking ahead. Okay, well, I'll par this one and par the next one, and 12's a birdie hole, so I can birdie that one.
Sure.
That's how I used to kind of think, and that was something I was trying to get away from, and that's too score oriented. And that round of 60 was just something that I'll never forget. It'll be something I'll never forget for the golf side and also the mental side. I played really, really well, obviously, putted really well, and I was really good mentally, and I won't really forget those 3 things.
Yeah, that's well. I hope you can bring that back again. I'm sure you will, and probably have already. But that's a fantastic round. So good for you. Yeah, I guess I really want to thank you, Michael, for giving me the opportunity to interview you today on your win recently, and just want to give you a chance to give a shout out or recommendation to any of the listeners here that would like to take a tip from you.
I would just say visualization. That's got to be the biggest thing. It's something I still work on to this day, and like I was saying earlier about how I visualize the tournament that I'm playing in or the next tournament, and how I visualize the tee shots, the putting, and how you can kind of get into the zone there in terms of like I did there on the 18th green at Windermere in Edmonton. I was sitting on that green, and I was a little bit nervous putting by myself. Nobody was watching, and I was kind of nervous standing over this putt because I was visualizing the 18th hole, the final day, with hundreds of people watching and the tournament on the line. I was envisioning that putt, and sure enough, that putt did happen for me, and I was able to make it. And visualization is really important, and if you can work on that and get strong with that, it'll definitely improve your game.
Absolutely. No, that's great information, great recommendation as well. So, good luck the rest of this year, and we'll be watching you at the end of the year as well, and hope things go well for you.
Awesome. Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Okay. Thanks, Michael.
Bye.
Bye.